To our knowledge, this is the first third-party financing of a crypto case. It's our belief that with your help, this will also be the largest consumer arbitration in history. So you guys understand, just to give you a little bit more detail, the way that the group is currently set up is there's a steering committee, which I am the manager of as a representative of Liti Capital. We have 5 people in that committee. The 5 people in that committee have more than $20 million of damages. We have hired White & Case, who is the #1 ranked international arbitration in the world. At White & Case, we have Abby Smutny-Cohn and Daryl Liu. Abby is ranked the #1 lawyer in international arbitration at White & Case. And what we are doing now, what is absolutely critical for right now, is you guys and this community. And here's why. We need to get the word out, okay? This has had to be confidential while we went through this process, while we organized ourselves, while we completed the funding, while we hired counsel. And now is the time when this community needs to step up for the broader community. We have to get the word out. Every trader, every person that was impacted by this needs to know that there is an option. We've created a website, BinanceClaim.com. At that website, you can sign up. It takes less than 5 minutes, and Liti Capital will cover 100% of the costs and 100% of the risk to bring a claim against Binance. Once you sign up, you will be our client. White & Case will be your lawyer, and we will bring an arbitration on your behalf. If we lose, nothing happens to you. There's no cost or anything needed from you. If we win, we will send you your percentage of the winnings. Liti Capital is entitled to 30% of the proceeds. 70% of the proceeds will go to the individual trader. Okay? I want to just spend 1 minute. I know people will have questions, but I would like to spend a minute to set the stage here. Binance is a company that is the first of its kind. It is the first company with no headquarters, no offices, no place that it can be regulated. To date, it has completely avoided regulation of any kind. I don't think that's right. And I don't think it's right because of what is happening to consumers here. The DeFi community, the community assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? Those products, those should never be regulated. Those are ours. Those are the communities. But Binance is a for-profit company that is taking people's money without setting up systems that work or that should work under certain circumstances, and without making themselves available in a reasonable venue to be held accountable if something goes wrong. That is different. That is not DeFi. That is not this community. That is a corporation taking advantage of the community that we have built. Okay? The current structure that is set up with Binance in their user agreement is the following. If you are harmed by Binance, you can't go to your local court. The only place that you can go is to Hong Kong, to the Hong Kong International Arbitration Court. How many people in this community, if they got harmed, are going to pick up and go to Hong Kong? But wait, it gets worse. Unlike recourse that you can get in a local court where the judge is free, you could represent yourself, theoretically. The judge is free. In arbitration, you have to pay the arbitration center and the arbitrators. And in Hong Kong, that costs $65,000. So under their agreement, just the 700 people that were in the Discord server that was created, they would have to pay $45.5 million just to be heard. 65,000 times 700. It's not right. It's not appropriate. It's not going to stand. This conversation needs to be had. This conversation about this new kind of company and what the rules are going to be, it needs to be had. And we are going to be at the forefront of having that conversation. Think about the internet 10 or 15 years ago. The internet gave people all around the world access to information, technology that nobody had ever dreamed of. That's what we're doing. That's what crypto is. That's what the blockchain is. It is giving access to financial abilities like Liti Capital that we could never have existed, could never even thought of 2 or 3 years ago. Security, decentralization, and anonymity. Amazing. But just like the internet 10 or 15 years, at some point it got big enough where we had to look around and say, okay, what are the rules going to be? How is this going to work? And the internet is still by and large unregulated. It is still by and large free. But large entities are not able to take advantage of individuals in the same way that is happening in the blockchain right now. And this is the moment. This is the conversation. It is starting here. It is starting now. It is starting with Liti Capital, your company. This is the conversation that we are going to start to have about what are the reasonable rules around this community that we've created. We are extremely proud to be doing this. I'm extremely thankful to the team that we have. And the biggest favor or request that we at Liti have for you guys who are Liti is to take this message everywhere. Every chat, every Reddit, every Telegram that you are in, BinanceClaim.com. We have to tell everybody what is happening here. And you know why? You're going to see something really interesting today. And then I'm going to pause, but really, really interesting today. The mainstream media is covering this far and wide. It is a big, well, a reasonably sized story in the mainstream media. But you know where you're not going to see it? You're not going to see it in the crypto media. Do you know why? While everybody was banging down our door to get this story, we got emails that we are going to publish later from every crypto site that you can think of declining to cover it because Binance gave them so much of their advertising. Declining to cover the story because they're afraid of Binance. We are not afraid of Binance. This community is not afraid of Binance. That is not the community that we are going to build. And so we must get this message out to those traders all around the world who were harmed. BinanceClaim.com. It is ready in every language for anyone to come, sign up, be heard, get compensated at no cost. All right, guys, that's the news. I don't know, Jonas, whether we're going to take a couple of questions or not from the community. I'd like to take a couple. I will note, though, that because of my status on the official steering committee for the Binance case, some of what there may be some questions that I can't answer or that would not be appropriate for me to answer, but I will do my best. So, given that this is an AMA, why don't we open it up and see if anybody has any questions? Feel free to, raise your hand and we'll give this a shot.
My pleasure, guys. I mean, I really want to make sure that the word gets out because obviously, nobody
Go
else
ahead,
is going to
Major.
cover this.
You just have to unmute.
Hey, this is V Law. Hey, good morning from California. Hey, I don't really have a question. I just want to say it feels good to be involved, to have investments in a company like Liti Capital, very transparent, very open, aligning with my beliefs and core values. So, just wanted to thank you guys for what you're doing.
Thank you. This company is as much yours as it is any of ours. I really appreciate it. Any other questions, guys? I can't be that good. Cedric, go ahead. You're on. You just unmute.
Hi guys. No, this is great. And yeah, what is your confidence in winning this case?
Yeah, it's a good question. It gets close to, given my role as a member of the steering committee, it's hard for me to talk about that in detail, but I think it's safe to say that as a fiduciary for you at Liti Capital, the cases that we are investing in are only cases that we believe strongly that we can be successful in, and this is no different. Henrik, you're all set. Just unmute. Henrik, Auckland, you just have to unmute.
Do you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Yeah, perfect. Which mainstream media are covering this?
The Financial Times, NBC, The Verge, Bloomberg. We have a list. Forecast, CNBC.
Yeah. The Verge as well.
Jones,
Wall Street Journal.
Yeah. Wall Street Journal. Yeah, it's gonna. You should if you search Liti Capital or Binance News on Google, you should see, and more are going to come out. We're expecting, anywhere between 50 and 100 outlets, Yahoo Finance, to be covering it. Like we said, they had all agreed to an embargo until 9 a.m. And a number of them broke the embargo before then, and so now others were starting to leak out. But the coverage really, began in earnest around 9 a.m. Okay, Rune, go ahead. You're unmuted.
Yeah, hi David. Very good case here, and I understand you're going out in many medias, and you want the entire community behind you. But do you foresee that there could be like a potential split in the community? I'm thinking then of like all these influencers, YouTubers, and stuff, because I mean they are making money on talking about crypto projects, and many of the big projects that have a lot of money, they are listed on Binance. Can there be any conflict there, that there might be like two camps in the community? Do you foresee anything like that?
I think it is absolutely possible. If given what happened with the crypto media, I think it is absolutely possible. But I will tell you that there are very few circumstances where there's a clear right and wrong. And I think that whatever you think about what happened on May 19th, I think it is extremely important that we as a group at least take the opportunity to stand up and say, what are we going to do? Imagine, what I'll say to all those people, imagine it was you. Imagine you had worked your whole life. You had $1,000, $10,000, $1 million, or $12 million in an account. The market started to go down. You tried to close it out. You have pictures and video of you trying to close it out. There was nothing you could do. You did everything right. And by the time the site started working again, you had $0 and no recourse. Whatever it is that you think is right or wrong, that's not right. People need an opportunity and a space to be heard to the extent that something like that happens. And I hope at the very least we can all agree to that. Okay. Raunchy Dog.
Hey, thanks, David. Just a quick question from my side. I do see the article in CNBC mentioning Liti Capital. Just curious to get your perspective on how you expect the news on Liti Capital turn into buys on this specific, Ethereum coin.
Sorry, can you repeat that in the CNBC article? Say it one more
Yeah,
time?
no, I mean, it definitely mentions, Liti Capital, right? So how would you expect, this news turn into additional, purchases of WLiti, right? That we are currently in. How do you expect that to work?
Got it. Look, I would think and hope that this example of what Liti Capital is and the value that we can provide and what we do will drive more people to come here and want to be token holders. I mean, one of the things in our community that is very important is legitimacy. That's step one, sadly, in the crypto community. I think we have that, and my hope and expectation is that news will only continue to further people's understanding that we are a real company, that we are not going anywhere, and that we are going to build value for our token holders. The second question is, can we make money? And I think this is a very good real world example of the types of cases we put on. And we hope and expect that when you look around the community and you say, who do I trust with my money? Who is going to create value? That you will look to Liti Capital as a place that is a good, safe place where we are going to make you money. Hey Briggs, you're unmuted. Briggs, you just have to unmute your phone. Okay. Nicola, you're just have to unmute your phone. You should be able to talk.
Can you hear me now? Sorry about that.
Yep, absolutely.
By the way, thanks for your time, guys. I think everyone in the community appreciates you guys a lot. It shows that you guys are putting a lot of work on what you're doing, so it's super exciting news. I had a quick question. So obviously this is a pretty large case, and so I am just curious because I'm not as familiar with litigation. Is what would be the expected time frame on a case like this for you and the team to see a resolution or see, milestones? Is this going to be a multiple year type case, or is it usually quicker in this space?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, taking out settlement for a second, right? Because settlement ends a case immediately, and we would hope and encourage Binance, who I'm sure are listening, to come and do right by their customers quickly. International arbitration, one of the good things about it is because it is governed by international law, there's a lot of statistics out there. Each of the centers are required to put out statistics. The average time for the type of arbitration that we're doing is, I believe, between 13 and 16 months. You can see it on the website from beginning to conclusion. Again, assuming no settlement in between. So that would be the time period for this, relatively tight in terms of litigation. Sure.
No, that's super helpful. And then one last question, and I'll give the time to someone else, is
Sure.
you guys, do you have an estimate on how many funds were affected in this time? Because I know you mentioned millions within the people that you're aware of. Does the WLiti team kind of have somewhat of an oddball estimate on what they think would the case in affected funds be around that?
Hundreds of millions of dollars. hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think that, again, the really important piece of this is to make sure that we get the news out every place where traders are. BinanceClaim.com, sign up. It's free. We will help you get your money back from Binance. We've got to just let people know around the world that there's that option. But thanks, Briggs.
Perfect.
Hi, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question. So Binance, they're registered on 15 different offshores, right? So what is the company like that you're suing? Like where they register, what's their location? Like who are you suing? Like actually?
Yeah, so that's good. That's a good question. I think that's one that, you know, given my role on the official committee, that I'm not going to get into. The good news is that irrespective of which entity or entities, you know, they have all agreed to be subject to jurisdiction in this international arbitration court. But that's a good question. Thank you for asking. Okay, Rox, you should unmute.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I also congratulate you on this. I think it's a huge thing also in the whole crypto space, like you mentioned. Also, yeah, my questions was already answered, the time frame. But I want to just ask jurisdictions, this international court. So what does this mean? It's under some law, under some states, or how this works? Because you know it's many entities, many different obligations, laws, and these things. So my question, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. So international arbitration is arbitration that takes place under international law. And believe it or not, since the advent of World War I, there has been a pretty steady set and growth of international law. There are international norms, there are treaties. It is in some ways very similar to this how rules are set up in local jurisdictions. In some ways, it's a little bit different. But it is an arbitration process where, assuming Binance does not meet our claim, we would file an arbitration against them. An arbitrator will be appointed. And then there are a set of 4 pleadings that go back and forth, a hearing, and a decision. And so, you know, it's obviously not quite that simple, but, you know, it is not dissimilar either to how these things generally go in local courts. It's just, you know, sort of a different set of laws, right? So if you were to be in the United States or the Ukraine, there's different rules, there's different laws, but by and large, a lot of the same concepts exist. It's the same way in international law. International law, you know, because it has grown up on an international basis, it really started with states suing other states, countries suing other countries, countries versus corporations, corporations versus countries. You know, it's taken a little bit from each different area of the world, but it works reasonably well. I have a lot of experience doing this. For those of you that don't know, prior to doing this, I was the founder, and the portfolio manager of $1 billion plus private equity firm in New York that was solely focused on international arbitration and litigation financing. So this is a world that I know well and I'm comfortable in. But thank you very much for the question. All right, guys, we're gonna take 2 more, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Eric. You just have to unmute. Eric? Okay. Henry, go ahead. You're on mute. Yep.
One more question about the Telegram group, and
Sure.
a guy called R says that joined the giveaway with the 5x airdrop bonus.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just wondering, is that from you in Liti, or is that spam?
It's a good question. I have been running around a bit this morning. I'm not totally sure, but I promise you that I will talk to the team and have somebody reach out right after the call.
David,
Okay,
it might be a good point to note
it's
that this might happen a little bit more often. People are always, looking to scam others on the internet, so please be aware and reach out to us here on Telegram to find out if things are real. And you might end up seeing more and more of this. So that airdrop, it is not from Liti Capital. They're simply trying to get your information.
I'm alive, guys. Can you hear me? Eric speaking.
Yeah, absolutely, Eric.
Okay, so I would like to, what you guys do for Binance is great, because I like to say, like CZ was speaking on the conference call in Indonesia, speaking about regulation for over half an hour on how much they want to be regulated and to be compliant. But I have a question much broader than that. So we know some exchange as bad actor. I don't know if anybody remember Quadriga, the Canadian exchange where the founder disappeared in India and so forth. But today we have some interesting news, like Liquid from Japan, which is a regulated exchange, actually got hacked for $80 million. And not so long ago, last year, less than a year ago, KuCoin got hacked for over $200 million. So does Liti Capital, as much as going after exchange for acting bad, can go the other way to protect them for bad actors as well?
Yeah, look, I think that's a really important point, and I want to make sure that everybody on this call understands one really important thing. We are not anti-Binance. We are not anti-Binance. We are pro-Binance, okay? We want the crypto community to succeed. We want Binance to succeed. We harbor zero animosity towards them as an entity, right? We would protect them if they needed it, just like anybody else or any other exchange. This is just a question of taking time and figuring out what the rules are going to be. It's entirely possible that Binance will call today and say, hey, you know what? You're right. Let's get everyone together. Let's work out a settlement that makes sense. Let's work with you to set up a set of rules that is generally fair. We would say, great. I would be the first one out there saying, these guys are great, right? They really are trying to become better corporate actors. And I saw that press conference that they had where they're saying they're starting to encourage regulation. We are huge supporters of that, right? Binance it is not good for this community if Binance disappears or gets regulated into oblivion. That's not what this is about. This is just about trying to start the conversation about what is fair and what is right. But we have absolutely nothing against Binance as an entity at all. At all. Thanks, Eric. That's a good question. Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being supporters of this company. We appreciate all of you guys. And please, please, please today, spread the word. Spread the word. BinanceClaim.com. Put it everywhere. We need every trader that has been impacted to come to BinanceClaim.com and register. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. I only hope that we keep acting in a way that deserves it. Have a really good day, guys.
You heard it first. That was David K talking about what's going on with Liti Capital and the Binance claim. There's going to be a lot of news in at least the main media outlets talking about this. As always, where there's money, people usually hold back and don't talk about it. So you might not see it, like he was saying, in crypto news outlets because they're just making too much money from Binance. But I'll keep covering it. When it comes to Liti Capital, I told you guys about token-wise what's going on over there. It's now up almost 500% from where we originally, bought in, or where I originally bought in. So you can see that there's definitely been a great impact, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. People don't know about it yet, but the news is coming out, and the more people know about what's going on, the more people know about Liti Capital and everything else that it can and will do for the crypto space as a whole. Again, guys, the goal is to make sure that we're all getting educated and figuring out exactly how this is going to work moving forward. That's what we need more than anything else. So regulations are not necessarily bad when they're done right. And holding people accountable, it's just the right thing to do. that's what we're looking for, and that's the way that we're looking to move forward. So if that's something you guys can get behind, if you go to the website binanceclaim.com and you were affected, sign up over there. They have resources if you guys do want to share. There's going to be a ton of information going around. You saw the thumbnail on this video. Share that. I'm going to try to make sure that I make this available on the channel everywhere that I can, a link to the images, so that you all can really help spread the word, the word about this, because it's the only way we're going to move forward. It's the only way we're going to be able to have resolution as to what's going on here. Thank you all so much, and I will definitely keep you all posted. Take care.